Most interesting is like welcome to everyone. So today we are going to take the uh, immune system, and so we will study together because. And I request you this particular even I can share the individual videos whichever I'm showing you here and the complete video and that also will be shared. I request you should repeat it very at least once in 15 days. Initially repeat once a week, then later you can repeat once in 15 days, so that it will remind you this is the most important topic and this is how everything works. Okay, then we will study now. See, there are many things which are required in the immunity. That is, what is the immunity? The major issue is the allergy. What is allergy, why it is happening, and even we will really study the how homeopathy works based on immune system. Okay, we will study that. I will show you some I have made you wonderful videos so that there are types of immunity and autoimmune disorder and many things, many videos, and we will stop there and we will discuss. Okay. Yes. I will share the audio also so that when video is playing, you will understand. Nice. When, oh, it is available here. It is opened. So now let us see what it says.
In this animation, we want to show the human immune system with images never seen before. We will learn how macrophages as well as other cells and mechanisms protect our organism from death every day. Our skin, like the bark of a tree, represents valuable protection. However, the skin is also home to countless microorganisms. Among other things, they are nourished and protected by an oily fluid called sebum. Sebum is produced by sebaceous glands. Sebum also contains antimicrobial elements that can kill microbes.
Yes, no, you may have a difficulty in understanding. This is the started with the skin and then hair roots. There is a secretion called sebum, and we can see that some oily things in the hair and even hair roots and in the skin. It represents the sebum. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that is starts with that is a part of the immune system.
If they are harmful or too many microbes on the skin, the sebum is composed in such a way that these microbes are killed. This creates a harmonious coexistence between skin cells and microbes, a kind of symbiosis. These microbes also keep one another in balance and kill pathogens that can be dangerous to our cells. The protective layer of hollow organs, such as the nose, mouth, and trachea, is a mucous membrane. Mucous membranes possess cilia. Cilia move back and forth in a wave-like manner. This allows them to move mucus to which foreign substances adhere upward into the oral cavity. If mucociliary clearance is not sufficient, an attempt is made to achieve clearance of unwanted particles through coughing. This is done by inhalation followed by a sudden exhalation, so that foreign substances are removed from the lungs and trachea. The bone marrow has stem cells.
Now you have understood? That's what? That is a cilia. Cilia in the respiratory system, and even when a dust particle enters into that respiratory system, it even tries to exhale fastly. That is called as a even sneezing and coughing. Okay, this is also part of immune system.
It is the birthplace for many different immune cells, which we also call leukocytes. Stem cells divide to form daughter cells, asymmetric or symmetric. Symmetric cell division results in either two stem cells or two progenitor cells, as seen here. The progenitor cells divide again and again. Thus, a single stem cell becomes many immune cells or leukocytes. A common immune cell is the neutrophil. Some of the neutrophils remain in the bone marrow, while others make their way into the bloodstream. Our neutrophil belongs to the so-called innate immune system and moves through the blood vessels. During inflammatory processes, the endothelial cells of the blood vessels have special receptors. Thus, initially there is weak adhesion, then processes. The endothelial cells of the blood vessels have special
Yes. Now, what is the neutrophil? You have seen that the neutrophil is moving freely. Innate immune system, it is a non-specific. The first line of defense that responds very quickly. That is skin, mucous membrane and neutrophil. And there are two types of thing, non-specific and specific. Slow response, that is adaptive immune system is slow response the time and takes it innate immune system and not able to defend the organism. Then what happens? So there is a step by step of involvement of the immune system.
receptors. Thus, initially there is weak adhesion, then strong adhesion, and finally the granulocyte goes through the endothelium. This process is called diapedesis. The path through the connective tissue has already been made by other neutrophils. Our neutrophil only has to follow cytokines, that is, signal substances of other cells, a process called chemotaxis.
That's a white portion, the white cells, what is it is going to guard your body from the intruder. This is how it is working.
There they are, bacteria, everywhere. They produce toxins and thus harm the cells of the organism. A neutrophil
Yes, what they say? Pathogens and the bacteria everywhere, they try to harm the organism, means your human body. So then what happens?
neutrophil's job is to eat these bacteria. This eating process is called
You saw there?
Yes, sir.
This neutrophil has eaten. खा लिया उसको. That is the bacteria are removed by neutrophil.
phagocytosis. In addition,
Yes. This action is called as phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means it is eating that bacteria. And I will, after this, I am going to play one more most important thing, how to increase phagocytosis.
Some of the neutrophils
Okay.
produce certain cytokines that attract other granulocytes. Other cells of the innate immune system are macrophages. They arrive on the scene before neutrophils, phagocytose bacteria, and produce a signal substance, tumor necrosis factor. It suppresses the feeling of hunger, causes fever.
This is a very, very important the point. So this is where in the tumor forming this particular cell, or you can say factor, disturbs, then the tumor starts growing.
Mhm.
Stimulates leukocyte production.
What is the name? Just what is the name? The name itself says tumor
Necrosis.
necrosis factor. What
Factor.
is tumor necrosis means? Destroying. It destroys. Tumor destroying factor.
Mhm.
Okay. So if it is not working, then what happens? It starts accumulating the
Okay.
garbage.
Causes fever.
Mhm.
Stimulates leukocyte production. Another leukocyte type is the T cell. T cells possess receptors. What do they need them for? Macrophages are professional antigen-presenting cells. They have the ability to present antigens via certain proteins on their surface, and this initiates certain processes. Some T cells can use their receptors to recognize exactly those antigens of the macrophages for which they have been trained in the thymus.
Means whatever the macrophages means, whatever the bacteria and it has eaten, it checks with the available data whether can we protect, we have any already ready-made protection with us. It will check. This is what is happening here.
Let us take a closer look at this. T cells are also formed in the bone marrow. They then migrate via the bloodstream to the thymus. Because they mature in the thymus,
Now you understood the here in the immune system, thymus plays a most important role. For that reason only, many times by telling you within my classes, I have informed you that thymus is a part of immune system.
Mhm.
they are called T for thymus cells. In the thymus, which is one of the primary lymphoid organs, T cells form antigen receptors. Afterwards, they usually migrate to secondary lymphoid organs, such as the lymph nodes and the spleen.
Yes, tonsils is one of the lymph glands. Okay, so that is also comes under the immune system. So what we do generally, why that tonsils become inflamed? Because it first attacks the tonsils and there it gets inflamed, so that there is an intruder. What we do generally, we make that tonsil, or I can say that bodyguard, we say just don't do anything, allow everyone. So by how we do it? By removing the tonsils. If we remove the tonsils, what happens? Anybody can come without any a bodyguard in the on the, or I mean, or you can say gatekeeper,
Creepers.
without gatekeeper. So that's
Creepers.
what, yes, correct, fantastic. So like that, this comes, why one should not get the tonsil get operated, because no, it is just like having a bank without a security.
And the lymphoid organs, naive T cells and dendritic cells meet. The dendritic cells have already had contact with a pathogen and present the antigen on the surface. They are also professional antigen-presenting cells. The T cell scans the dendritic cell for the antigen for which the T cell was trained in the thymus. If it finds the antigen, T cell activation begins and, among other things, clonal expansion occurs. The cell reproduces itself thousands of times. These cells respond to a specific pathogen or antigen. Then, some T cells start their journey and migrate to other tissues. Once there, the cytotoxic T cells scan other cells with their receptors to look for cells that have the specific antigen on their surface. If they find their antigen in a cell, they know that a pathogen, for example, is in the cell. The cytotoxic T cells begin to induce apoptosis.
See, this is also very important, the function of the cell. That is apoptosis, you can say. You call it in that way. Suicide program, programmed cell death of the individual cell by external signal. Okay. Because you say you have been already infected by such and such thing, it is better to, that is, it dies itself. That is called, that mechanism is called as apoptosis, right?
The cell's debris are eventually eaten by macrophages and new cells form.
A macrophage is a phagocyte which is responsible for removal of the dead cells, cell debris and more. Okay, this is very important. How can we increase this macrophages action? Is by fasting. I have one very good video on that. I'm going to play that also.
There are not only cytotoxic T cells, but others as well. T helper cells, memory T cells, regulatory T cells, and others. T helper cells work hand in hand with B cells.
In immune therapy, what they do, they grow these cells outside the body. They take, because everyone's blood and they are specific to person, so they draw the blood and they separate the T cells. You see there are so many T cells here, so they grow outside they grow in the lab and induce back to the body. That is the immunotherapy. You should know what is it actually, what they do. Okay. Is it clear? They grow this because these are helper cells it will help our immune system. So our body cannot produce it sufficiently, though what they do, they grow it outside the body in the lab, then they put back they again add into the blood.
B cells possess receptors like T cells. Like T cells, B cells also originate in the bone marrow. They then search for their specific antigen in the lymphatic system.
See what you have understood. Everything is originated in the bone marrow.
Bone marrow.
How we address the bone marrow? What are the remedies working on the bone marrow? Anemia balance. And you can say blood. OM1, blood. Everything has a bone marrow inside it. One of the component is the bone marrow. So if you want to increase for everything, bone marrow is very important. So for producing the cell, different cells and in all different type of cells, bone marrow is very important. Even blood cells and I can say there are some cells called as blast cells. They know the cell stem cells, they are all produced in the bone marrow. To increase that, to help bone marrow to produce healthy cells, we need to give the blood, OM blood, and the immune system also. Immune also is there in Soham immunity and mixture immunity. We'll talk about it in next.
System or in the bloodstream. If the B cell finds its antigen with its receptors, either activation occurs immediately or the B cell moves into the lymphoid tissue where T helper cells wait. T helper cells, as we've seen before, were also trained for one specific antigen. For this reason, the B cell presents its antigen on the surface. This allows the T cell with its receptors to scan the B cell. If it is the antigen for which the T cell has been trained, it gives the starting signal for the division and maturation of the B cell. As with T cells, clonal expansion occurs. Thus, thousands of new B cells or plasmablasts and plasma cells are generated from a single B cell. Mammary B cells are also produced, which will spring into action in the event of another subsequent infection. During acute infection, plasmablasts and plasma cells immediately begin to produce antibodies, and they release these antibodies into the bloodstream. Antibodies are also often called immunoglobulins.
You may feel difficult to understand, but when you go through I already shared the PDF, you just for don't read for the examination purpose. You just read like a novel. You will understand. So our whole complete body is very beautifully programmed like in a computer, more than computer. So what all is happening here in the animation? It recognizes, it remembers if there is the previously had a similar affection, similar the infection, it will immediately react into it. That is what it was doing. So the complete immune system, how it is working, it has been animated here. So don't worry if you don't understand it. But one time, second time, third time, fourth time, you read until you understand it. It is a beautiful novel. That is a step-by-step flow chart like thing. We are going to study another video from where it will some more we will understand in a deeper level.
If the toxin, the bacterium, the antigen is in the blood, the antibody just produced by the plasma cell can bind to it. In this way, for example, a toxin can be rendered harmless and an antigen can be marked so that macrophages can recognize it more easily and phagocytize it more quickly. This process is called opsonization. All immune cells have a stem cell as their origin. It develops into progenitor cells and eventually into the immune cells just shown. Other important immune cells are natural killer cells and platelets. Platelets, also known as thrombocytes, originate in the bone marrow from megakaryocytes. Megakaryocytes have pseudopodia that extend into blood vessels of the bone marrow. It is through these pseudopodia that platelets are emitted into circulation. One megakaryocyte can produce 1,000 to 3,000 platelets. This process is called thrombopoiesis. The platelets move through the blood vessels of the body. If injury to a blood vessel occurs, hemostasis begins. The platelets adhere first to the collagen fibers of the connective tissue and eventually adhere to one another.
What is happening here is, suppose some injury is happening, automatically the signal is coming and the platelets are produced in large quantity to block there. Wherever there is a bleeding is there, to block there. That is a auto mechanism of that is also part of.
This results in a quite fragile platelet plug, which prevents the blood from escaping.
Yes, blood platelets is making a chain like thing so that it protects from excessive bleeding and loss of blood.
Eventually, fibrin strands form on the platelets, which ensures a stronger plug. And it will bind more platelets and red blood cells. Thus, a strong clot is formed.
So, what your intention
Intention.
should be, you initially you may fail, it is very difficult, but as as you keep seeing this, it will give you the one after the other reaction. It has already told you how immune system works in our body, including the injury. Lastly, what we saw was, if injury happens to our body, how our body is getting protected by its own auto mechanism. So as a spiritual healer and vibronic healer, what you have to do, उसको क्या चाहिए वो देना है. वो बनने के लिए क्या चाहिए? We have to stimulate. First of all, you can see, if blood is not good enough, I mean sufficient enough, there will be a problem. So start from the basics. Basic is, you should have a good HB level, hemoglobin level, and immunity. How the immunity is, once you think of immunity, everything has to be there. Bone marrow, good bone marrow production should be there, like that. And you have seen so many beautiful action here. Now I will, because it is connected to one very important video, which is connected to macrophagous action, phageous action, like what are the thing, what is happening? Our dead cells, or you can say injured cells, are eaten by our own cells. That is our protection mechanism. Why it happens? When it happens, when you do fasting.
Okay.
Earlier time, Amasi, Unme, Advatva, I can say Ekadashi, we should do the fasting, that is told, and we are diverted from the, we are diverted from the real fact. So earlier people, they used to afraid of a god. So भगवान ऐसा करेगा तुमको, तो एकादशी को फास्टिंग रखना है, वो सब बोल करके. And when we become matured as a human being, अरे ये कैसा भगवान का, तो भगवान का किधर है करके हम जब बोलने लगेंगे, तो so there is the actual importance of scientificity of the thing is removed. That is gone. So we have to rethink now. We have to reprogram. If anything
Yes.
is told within our, ancient time, it is told you should don't do like this, do like this. We should think in different angle and try to assimilate and understand it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now see, in this one, fasting for autoimmune disorder. What is fasting for?
The strongest evidence of the benefits of fasting surrounds the treatment of an autoimmune joint disease known as rheumatoid arthritis, as I detailed in my last video. There was a German study suggesting benefits for osteoarthritis as well, with reported improvements in pain and joint function, but we'd really need randomized controlled trials to know for sure. The researchers despair that they only had 30 patients.
This is the rheumatoid arthritis is classified under the autoimmune disorder. So many are there. So how he is telling, he's a very highly qualified allopathic doctor, but he's talking about the fasting, right?
But that's 30 times more than many reports on fasting in the medical literature, which may detail only single cases. For example, a woman with a rare autoimmune disease known as mixed connective tissue disease, which can cause all sorts of painful and distressing symptoms, treated with steroids in an attempt to suppress their immune system. But 21 days later, off her medications, her symptoms improve with fasting, and more importantly, seem to stay away. So, does fasting work for mixed connective tissue disease? Well, all we can say is, hey, at least it worked at least once. A similar success story was reported with fibromyalgia. A woman with pain throughout her body couldn't sustain activity on lots of drugs, but ended up symptom-free 24 days later, and remained that way at least a month later. But when a modified fasting regimen was tried on dozens of individuals, the benefits seen at 2 weeks largely disappeared by week 12. What about lupus? A 45-year-old woman remaining in pain despite her immunosuppressive drugs, but pain-free by day 4 of fasting, and remained symptom-free for a year before wiping them out again with a second fast. Now, note this wasn't just fasting, but fasting followed by a plant-based diet in an attempt to solidify the gains. And a strictly plant-based diet, zero animal protein, alone has been shown to control symptoms in at least some cases. The same with sacroiliitis,
Have you noticed here what they're telling? Zero animal food. Zero animal protein means they emphasize they give the importance on the vegan diets.
manifestation of ankylosing spondylitis, an autoimmune arthritis that primarily affects the spine, causing back pain that can last for years. They tried all sorts of conventional therapies and drugs, but the pain still didn't go away. So they tried recommending the complete avoidance of animal foods, and saw distinct persistent improvements within days until he ate meat again. But
Yeah, why you should serve? So for that reason, why you should insist your patient to be on vegan diet, vegetarian diet? In the outside country, Western country, there are two different things: vegan diet and vegetarian diet. So for that reason only I'm telling. So you put people more on the vegetarian diet. You do generally two things. One is you avoid the all these complications by the animal food, and secondly you save some lives.
back on plant-based nutrition, he was off most of his drugs, almost completely free of symptoms. So at least in this case, inflammatory pain refractory to other treatment was abolished by eating healthier. So, hey, at least it's worth a try. Autoimmune glomerulonephritis, where your body attacks your own kidneys, is a common manifestation of lupus. In a case series of 29 patients who were fasted for 60 hours and then just put on fruits and vegetables until they got better, described such remarkable recoveries that fasting, in their opinion, should be an essential part of treatment. What about multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune nerve disease? Sufferers were randomized to a fasting-mimicking diet, meaning a modified fast that started out with an 800-calorie-a-day diet of fruit, rice, or potatoes, and then they spent a week sipping a few hundred calories of flaxseed oil and vegetable broth before transitioning to a plant-based Mediterranean diet, and over the next 3 months experienced a significant improvement in overall quality of life. They also tried a ketogenic diet, but that failed to offer clinically or statistically significant overall benefit. And finally, chronic urticaria, hives, where you get a rash of itchy wheals and welts, started to improve on day 3 of the fast and completely disappeared by day 11. This is consistent with studies out of Germany and Japan that evidently showed around a 75% effectiveness for such patients with what looks like some sort of tea with sugar diet. Certainly worth giving fasting therapy a try, but of course, fasting should only be done under trained medical supervision. Otherwise, you'd never know if you have some hidden underlying kidney issue that could land you in a coma and then in the morgue. Right? You have to have your kidney function and electrolytes monitored to make sure your body is up for the challenge. Despite the potential benefits, water-only fasting is not a cure or treatment in the traditional sense. It's simply intended to promote the body's self-healing mechanism, since by definition fasting is unsustainable. In order to maintain the results obtained by water-only fasting, it is necessary to adhere to a health-promoting lifestyle that includes a healthy diet of minimally processed plant foods, sleep, and exercise.
Excellent. So, you understood Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Triyodasi, the Ekadashi fasting edak ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
Yes, sir.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
for that reason. Okay. Now, there is one more very important thing is, we have to see active and passive immunity. Here
This
only the
one
secret of
here is a very bad bacteria. This bacteria there to enter my body, but my body is gifted with a very strong immune system. We humans are gifted with a very strong immune system. And what our immune system does? The first thing our immune system does is that it recognizes the foreign invader, in this case a bacteria, and then produces weapon specific for that foreign invader. So it will produce
So you have understood there here, it recognizes the bacteria, or you can say problem, and produces the exact matching
you can
weapon.
say customized special weapon against this bacteria, which we call antibodies. So these antibodies are made specially for this bacteria. So now these antibodies will go and bind to this bacteria and then call more immune cells and finally kill this bacteria. So this bacteria will be eventually killed. But that is not the end of the story. Our immune system future-proofs us from this bacteria. It prepares another special type of cell called the memory cell.
You understood? This is what is the principle of vaccination. They introduce the dead cells, so our immune system fights to that particular bacteria and it remembers. So in case of any similar things it is coming in future, it goes and ready-made already people are there, you can say immune system is there, it will go and directly fight against those infections.
This is very important. This memory cell now will stay in our body and will fight this bacteria if it dares to enter our body again. We will talk about this memory cell in a minute, but before that, let me tell you that our immune system initially had no idea what this bacteria was. But once this bacteria got inside our body, our immune system tried to recognize or understand parts of this bacteria, and it produced antibodies against it. So we are not born, or our immune system are not born with the knowledge of this foreign invader, this bacteria. But during our lifetime, as our immune system comes in contact with the new foreign invaders like bacteria, viruses, it adapts itself to produce immunity towards those foreign invaders. And therefore, this type of immunity is called adaptive immunity. Now, I want you to
Understood what is this? Adaptive immunity. It means with a different type of the invader, our body get trained itself and ready for the future invader, the similar invader.
imagine a situation in which your friend Ram, as he was going back to home from school, was bitten by a snake. And now you just saw that. What will you do? You will probably rush him to the hospital where the doctor will give him some anti-venom shots. Now my question is, just like the bacteria, this venom of the snake, let me write it again, the snake venom is also a foreign substance for the body. And just like our immune system worked against the bacteria, our immune system should also work against the snake venom, right? So why do people panic during a snake bite? And why do we rush to hospital and we are given anti-venom shots? Well, the answer to this lies in the time that our immune system requires to function. So
Correct.
here is a
Yes.
graph. The x-axis gives the time and the y-axis gives the antibody.
Yeah, understood. Now, if our body is strong enough to recognize and fight the invader, why snake poison, snake bite affects us? Because it requires some time. Our immune system requires some time to get recognized and fight against. उतना time नहीं रहता when in case of the snake venom. That is what they are explaining.
Body amount in your body at any point in time. Now, as you can see, this is the first exposure. Let's talk about bacteria. So, this bacteria entered the body, and this is the first day of exposure. And as you can see, our immune system took some time to react to this foreign particle. So it took around 4 to 7 days just for our immune system to recognize these foreign particles and produce antibodies against this foreign particle. But if we wait that long, in case of a snake bite, a person will die. And the reason is snake venom are very potent. It works very fast. Unlike bacteria, they also need some time to create havoc inside our body. And that time is utilized by our immune system to create weapon against the bacteria. But in this case, the snake venom is very potent. It won't give our immune system any time to prepare any weapon against them. And therefore, we need to take anti-venom shots. Now, do you know what these anti-venom shots contain? These anti-venom shots are nothing but antibodies against that snake venom. Now, where do doctors get these antibodies against snake venom? Because we saw our immune system produces specific antibodies against a specific foreign invader, right? So where did the doctor get specific antibody against snake venom? They get it by injecting the snake venom into horse or some other mammal. Generally, horses are used because it is seen that horses could quite resist the effect of snake bite. So once the snake bites a horse, the immune system in the horse body produces antibody. Those antibodies are extracted and stored as anti-venom shots. Interesting.
Very interesting, you know. So, what is there in the snake venom? I mean, the anti-venom shots, that is direct bacteria. Because our body requires some time to recognize and produce the bacteria, produce the antibodies. What they do, they inject the same venom into the horse, and when it is just like our body, it also produces the antibody. That antibodies are preserved and put into our body to fight directly against the venom, poison.
right? Now, in case of the snake bite, as we just saw, we got the antibodies from outside. So the kind of immunity that we received by the introduction of antibodies from another person or animal is called passive immunity, because here we didn't produce our own antibodies. So you can already guess what this kind of immunity is called, the immunity in which our body produces our own antibody and memory cells. I'm sure you have probably guessed it by now. This is called active immunity. So let me write down active immunity. Now, apart from the difference of producing our own antibody in case of active immunity and introducing external antibody in case of passive immunity, what other differences can you spot between these two types of adaptive immunity? Just pause the video for a second and think about it. Alright, so the first difference that I can spot is this memory cell. In active immunity, we get memory cells.
Yes. In active immunity, what happens? It remembers. See, like vaccination. It remembers next time if anything happens, it remembers and produces directly antibodies and fights with a fast pace. But here in passive immunity, not like that. Every time you come across such problem, again you have to have that, because we are putting we are using somebody's immune system, like some animals' immune system into our body. Right?
Produces memory cells, but there is no question of memory cells in case of passive immunity, because here we have introduced antibodies from outside, so there is no question of memory cells. So let me write down that in case of active immunity, memory cells are produced, but in case of passive immunity, no memory cells are produced. Okay, now these memory cells are important because if that foreign invader gets inside the body again, our body has a weapon to fight against it. But in case of passive immunity, let's say your friend Ram was attacked by snake again. He will have to take the antivenom shots again, right? So in case of passive immunity, there is no memory. So there is no weapon left that could recognize the foreign invader that have attacked the body previously. So this is the very first difference, having memory cells and not having memory cells. And the next difference lies in the time of action. So let me bring in the graph again. So let's first discuss about active immunity. This is the first day when the foreign invader entered the body, and this is the number of days our immune cells or our immune system took to act against that foreign invader. So it took around 4 to 7 days. But in case of passive immunity, the day the venom entered, the same day the antivenom shots were given that had antibody readily made that can go and bind to antivenom and destroy those antivenoms, right? So which of the two is faster? Passive immunity, right? Because as soon as the antivenom shots are given, it will go and destroy the snake venom. But in case of active immunity, our immune cell took quite some time to act against the foreign invader. So active immunity is comparatively a slow process, whereas passive immunity is comparatively a fast process. Now, I like to remember active immunity as home-cooked food and passive immunity as ordering food from outside.
Yes,
So
Zomato.
you must be thinking, why is she making this weird comparison? This is just a trick to remember, okay? So passive immunity means ordering food from outside. So how do I relate? When you order food, you get the order really very fast. But if you cook food at home, you have to give a lot of time to cooking, right? So when you cook food, it is slow. It takes a lot of time to cook food. But if you order food, it's very fast. The delivery happens within minutes. And again, if you order food, you will not know how that food is cooked. So the next time you want to have the same food, you will have no option but to order again. So there is no memory of how that food is cooked, because there is no
Yes.
question of memory here, right? Because the food is not cooked by you. But in case of active immunity, as you have cooked your own food, you will know how that food is cooked. So the next time you want to have the same food, you can cook it yourself. Okay, so active immunity, we will compare it to home cooked food, and passive immunity is ordering food from outside. All right, I'll give you an example of adaptive immunity, and how about you guess whether it is an active adaptive immunity or passive adaptive immunity? All right, so the example is of vaccination. What do you think vaccination is? Because vaccination provides immunity, right? So what do you think? Is it an active immunity or passive immunity?
Yes, what do you think, it is a passive immunity or active immunity? Vaccination.
Passive immunity. Vaccination is active immunity.
Yes, active immunity, because it has a memory.
Ah,
So when a real intruder comes, it is ready to fight. Yes,
just
it
like
is active
home food.
immunity. Yes.
Let's find out. So in order to find out, we need to know what we inject actually in case of vaccination. So in a vaccine, we actually have non-infectious part of a harmful pathogen. So if this vaccine is against a virus X, then this vaccine will contain either parts of this virus X, or this virus is dead and the entire dead virus is used in it, or this virus is somehow made non-virulent. That means made non-infectious. And those viruses which are non-harmful are administered into the human body. Now, why do we do that? We do that to introduce our immune cells to those foreign harmful particles. Now, once our immune cell comes in contact with the virus X, whether parts of the virus X, or whether dead virus X, or whether non-infectious virus X, our immune cell will immediately recognize it to be something foreign and produce antibodies and memory cells against it. So this memory cell is very important, and this is the reason why vaccines are administered into human body, so that later when the actual pathogen, when the harmful live pathogen, live virus gets inside the body, there will be memory cells already sitting there in our body that will immediately recognize and fight that pathogen. Now, what do you think? Is vaccination an active or a passive adaptive immunity? Well, since vaccination made our body produce its own antibody and own memory cell, therefore it is an active adaptive immunity. Now, even though these two are the examples of active immunity, there is a slight difference in both the examples. In the first one, the bacteria entered the body all by itself. It happened naturally. So this type of active adaptive immunity is called natural. So this is natural. But here, in case of vaccination, we had to administer it ourselves, right? There was human intervention. So this one is called artificial. So active immunity can be of two types. Natural, this type of immunity takes place in every person and we do not need to do anything about it. It happens naturally and it is true for all living organisms or human beings. An artificial active immunity is something in which human intervention is required. But since both these immunities are active immunities, we produce antibodies and memory cells. So even in natural and artificial, if we see, both antibodies and memory cells are produced. Now, just like active immunity, passive immunity also has natural and artificial immunity. So what do you think this is? The antivenom shot? What do you think it is? Is it an natural or artificial passive immunity? What do you think it is? Well, this is an artificial passive immunity because here human intervention is required And people don't get it naturally. It is not true for everyone. So this is artificial passive immunity. Now, how about you think of a natural passive immunity? The definition of natural would be that it is true for every human being. A person do not need to put extra effort in order to get that kind of immunity. So think of an example of natural passive immunity. Now, this natural passive immunity is the one that you, me, and every one of us have got as a newborn child. We get IgA, which is immunoglobulin A, or we can call it an antibody from our mother through the breast milk. And that provides immunity to the newborn child. So this type of immunity is passed on from a mother to a child. We do not have to put in extra effort in order to get this immunity. So this was all about adaptive immunity. Now you can try and find out more examples and check whether it comes under natural or artificial active and passive immunity.
So interesting.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now fasting. Now let us see.
Do you love smelling flowers? Well, I do too. But do you know, every time we smell a flower, there are high chances that the pollen in the flower might get inside our nose. So should we be worried about it? Well, most of the time when the pollen enters, nothing actually happens. It doesn't affect our body. But in some people, like in case of my brother Ram, every time he smells a flower, he sneezes like crazy. And he also gets this watery eyes, runny nose, and redness and swelling around his nasal area. Now, since Ram's body reacts in a very different way towards a non-harmful substance like a pollen, Ram is said to have an allergy towards pollen. Now, anything that triggers an allergy is called an allergen. So this pollen is an allergen for Ram, but it is not an allergen for me because I don't get all these symptoms when I smell a flower. Now the question is, what is happening different in case of Ram? Because we are closely related, we are siblings, and we share a fair amount of our DNA. So why is Ram's body reacting in a different way than mine? Let's find out. Let's begin by talking about the word allergy. Allergy comes from a Greek word which means change in reaction. Now, what reaction is it talking about? It is talking about the body's immune cells' reaction. The immune cell somehow tend to become oversensitive towards non-harmful substances. And that reaction of our immune cell towards non-harmful substances causes an allergy. So
in allergy, what happens? Our immune system is gone dull, or it is more overactive. Underactive or overactive? It is overactive. Overactive. So in such cases, what are the remedies we have? Very good remedies with us. Mixture number 62, allergy B, and allergy balance in the balance remedy, and immune system in a mixture number 86 in the mixture, and the immune system in the Soham immunity. What it will do? It will correct the immune system. So here, allergy means it is overactive immune system. It makes in a natural way, so that even though it is not a harmful to our body reacts to it. It is an allergy.
Is actually the weird reaction of our immune system. Our immune system somehow tends to behave in a very weird way. So to see how the immune system behaves differently, how about we check my immune system and then my brother Ram's immune system?
See, for that, what is in allopathy, what they give? They give antihistamine. So it is just like that only. They know. If someone is objecting to those things, you remove that guard. That's itself. Allow everyone, everything to come to you directly, like those things. But here within homeopathy and our vibronics, it corrects our immune system. It corrects immune system. That's very great. It is just not the making the allergy all right. No, it is correcting the immune system.
Every time we inhale some pollen. Okay, so this is me. I am not allergic to pollen, and as you can see, I have inhaled some pollen. Now, what will happen after that? The pollen will first encounter the hair that's present in our nasal passage. So these are the hairs, okay? And this one here is the pollen. So the pollen will try to enter our nasal passage. So the first obstruction will be the hair, and then beneath the hair will be a dense mucus layer. So these are the mucus. So some pollen will be trapped by the mucus, but let's say the pollen has passed the mucus layer as well. Then beneath the mucus layer will be the epidermal layer. So these are our epidermal cells, the outer layer. But the pollen is so stubborn that it has passed all these layers and have gone deep down under this epidermal layer. So let's say here is the pollen. But the pollen has no idea that our body has got defensive cells, which we call immune cells. And this pollen will now encounter our immune cells. Now this is where the difference is. The immune cells from here on will start acting differently in me and in case of my brother. So let's see how my immune cells behave, okay? So let us consider that somewhere here the pollen has got inside the epidermal layer. So as soon as it enters, it will face our immune cells. So this one here is a pollen and this is the immune cells. Now the immune cell will phagocytose the pollen, or we can say the immune cells will eat the pollen. Now, after they do that, they will release some chemicals in this vacuole, and it will destroy the pollen particles. It will break down into small non-functional pieces, and that is the end of the pollen story inside my body. Simple, right? Now, let's see what happens differently in case of my brother Ram. So, here is Ram. He is allergic.
Yes. If this pollen means like like a parthenium and some flowering plants, they that is the thing. If that is generally one get the allergic to that. In case of if he is not allergic, so what happens? It goes inside by crossing all the layer, and that disintegrates into unfunctional parts.
Allergic to pollen, okay? In case of Ram, the immune cells, after eating up the pollen, displace the pollen to the other immune cells. Let me show you how. They do it with the help of a special protein called MHC class 1. Now the question is this protein not made in my body? The answer is yes, it is present in my body, my immune cells as well. In fact, it is present in all the cells of our body. But why is it displaying the parts of a pollen to other immune cells in case of Ram, but not in case of me? The answer lies in the structure of the MHC molecule. This is the MHC molecule, which has this variable region here, and this one here is the pollen. Now, this variable region is formed from a random shuffling of a piece of DNA, or we can say a gene that codes for the variable region of MHC. It randomly shuffles and forms this variable region. So it is sheer luck that the variable region of Ram somehow could attach to this pollen, but the variable region of MHC in case of me did not bind to a pollen. So this is the first step where both of our immune system acted in a different way. So what happens after that? Why is this playing of a pollen by an MHC molecule a big deal? Well, this is a big deal because it presents this pollen particle to the T cells. The T cells then sends a strong signal to B cells to form antibodies against it. Here, you will not understand where these T and B cells have all come in from until you have watched the videos of what B and T cells are and how they react. Well, these are all immune cells. They have their own very important functions in the immune system. And as soon as all these cells get activated, here, as soon as this B cell get activated, it will produce a special type of antibody called IgE, that is immunoglobulin E. Now let me tell you that this IgE is not the very common type of immunoglobulin produced by B cells. It normally produces IgG or IgM kind of antibodies. Now there are videos that talks about all these different type of antibodies. I won't elaborate it here, but these are antibodies produced against a specific type of foreign invader or antigen. Now here, as IgE is produced, this IgE is produced only during allergic reaction. Now what this IgE does and why is it so different? Well, this is because the other immunoglobulins which are produced by B cells through a plasma cell goes and binds to the foreign invader or to the antigen directly. But here, the IgE, it goes and binds to a special type of immune cell called the mast cell. And this mast cell have special receptors on top of it that has very high affinity for IgE antibodies, and IgE goes and binds to these mast cells. Now these mast cells are said to be sensitized. Now, can you guess why? Well, this is because the mast cell initially had no clue what these pollens were. But now, with the help of specific IgE molecule that has come and docked onto this mast cell has now become very, very sensitive towards this pollen. Okay, let me tell you another thing about this IgE molecule. This immunoglobulin E molecule has a very short half-life, but as soon as it goes and docks onto this mast cell, its lifespan increases. It can now stay potent for around 2 to 3 weeks. And during that time, if this pollen happened to enter the body of Ram again, can you guess what can happen? Well, this time the pollen will be taken up directly by the IgE antibody that's present on top of the mast cells. And as soon as the pollen binds to the IgE molecule, the mast cell ruptures. And as you can see, it releases all its content in the vicinity. Now, before I tell you what happens next, let me clear the board a little bit. Alright, so now as you can see, this mast cell have released some chemicals. So what are these chemicals? Among the many different type of chemical it releases, the very potent and the most important one is the histamine. So what this histamine does is that it widens the blood vessel. So this is the normal diameter of a blood vessel. So as you can see, it widens the blood vessel and then also causes the cells that makes up the blood vessels to shrink. So as those cells, which we call endothelial cells, as those cells shrink, the blood vessels becomes permeable and the fluid rushes out of the blood vessels, causing swelling and redness in that area. And that is why Ram gets that redness and swelling in the nasal area. And on top of that, histamine increases the glandular secretion. So let me write down gland secretion. And in this case, it increases the secretion of the mucus glands and therefore Ram gets a runny nose. And all these causes a lot of irritation in the nasal passage of Ram and that causes continuous sneezing. Now, along with histamine, some other chemicals are also released by the mast cells, and few of those chemicals also attracts more mast cells to come into that area and burst themselves. And that adds on to the misery that this mast cell was already causing. And that is how my poor brother Ram gets an allergy from pollen. Now let's talk about the remedy and the cure for allergen. Well, sadly, we still don't have a cure for an allergy, but we
Yes. See what they say. In the allopathic perspective, they are telling there is no any cure for allergy. But in allergy B combination, we have made the remedy from allergens only, which produce the allergy. With that same, what we do, we potentized and make in a small quantity, and we give. That reaction happens, and it remembers, our body remembers and again fights. This is what is happening here. So this is how our homeopathy, or you can say vibrational therapy, works.
do have drugs that stops the action of histamine or
Yeah, they instead of curing everything, they stop the histamine, antihistamine medicines they give, so that eat redness, swelling, all the glandular secretion reduce, and you take more allergies, but it is not a cure. So how beautifully we can keep.
stops the action of other chemicals that's released by the mast cells, but that do not provide a permanent cure towards an allergy. The next time Ram inhales a pollen, the same chain of reaction will occur again.
Yes, you have seen now. No, I want to stop it here and tell you that yes, just in front of my house only, one person was getting allergy from any non-vegetarian food. So they were unable to find out what is the cause. So then what I did, I potentized their own blood and given back to him, and that allergy has gone.
Okay.
So this is how we can help because this is generally one should not get that much allergy, but if they are sensitive to non-vegetarian food, because we can't say them to stop non-vegetarian, they keep taking and they keep getting the allergies. We, by potentizing their blood in our machine, he got relieved by the allergy. And for us potentizing the blood, I have made the special video in my YouTube channel. You please see how it can be done.
Yes, sir.
Mast cell will be released, and then he will have to take a drug to counteract all those chemicals. So the best piece of advice in case of an allergy is avoidance. If
Avoiding
you're allergic
the
to
allergy.
pollen, avoid smelling a flower.
Yes. Avoiding those whatever is making you allergy, that's the best way to have a control over the allergy.
If you're allergic to peanuts, do not eat peanuts. Well, doctors have also come up with another treatment where small doses of an allergen is injected over a long period.
That is what it is. It is the same homeopathy, or you can say vibronic therapy. That is what a small quantity of allergens is put into the body, so that our body get immune to that, or you can say that understands how to handle that, and we can handle it successfully.
Period of time, so that the body's immune system at one point of time stops reacting to that
Yes,
allergen.
correct. Very nice, excellent. Because this was a very, very important topic, because this is how everything works. Everything, even our vibronics works in this way only. Okay. Now, last video, how to know the allergies. What are the tests for allergies?
The internet is full of bro science, fake knowledge, half information, or propaganda. Your quest of reliable, authentic health information ends here. So subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon and you never have to go anywhere else ever again.
So, दोस्तों हम बात कर रहे हैं ऑटो इम्यून डिजीजेस की। ऑटो इम्यून डिजीजेस में जो हम जांच करते हैं कि आपकी इम्यून सिस्टम क्या आपके शरीर के किसी भी हिस्से को डैमेज कर रही है या नहीं, और कैसे कर रही है तो कहाँ कर रही है, और उसके क्या कोई साइन है, कोई लक्षण दिख रहे हैं हमें, उसके लिए फिर टेस्ट होंगे। टेस्ट में जो बेसिक टेस्ट जैसे हमने बताया CBC, ESR, HSCRP, कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव मेटाबॉलिक पैनल, वो सारे करे जाएंगे। और कुछ स्पेसिफिक टेस्ट होते हैं जैसे कि ऑटो एंटीबॉडी टेस्ट और एंटी न्यूक्लियर एंटीबॉडीज। अब ये एंटी न्यूक्लियर एंटीबॉडीज क्या होते हैं? ये
See,
एक
if anybody is coming to you for the joint pain and other thing, you just check this test. Some of the tests will be positive. So because by knowing that, what will happen? You have to say that yes, it is the autoimmune disorder. It is not easily. It is nowhere. It is you can cure that, but you should have patience to get these type of disease tackled like that. You should have. They say, see, you have these type of autoimmune disorder. We have to have a patience. Okay, so don't hurry up, don't worry, don't doubt first of all, don't doubt the remedies, and finally don't doubt the machine itself. No, think about what it is and how it is, and हर एक का capabilities रहता है, what are the how deep it is acting and reacting to your body. So think in that way, take the knowledge. For that reason only I am playing this video.
जैसे हमने कोरोना वायरस के खिलाफ एंटीबॉडीज देखी हैं, सुनी है, वैसी हैं ये आपके बॉडी के जो मतलब ये न्यूक्लियस के खिलाफ एंटीबॉडीज है। मतलब आपका इम्यून सिस्टम खुद की बॉडी के ऐसे एंटीबॉडीज हैं, ये जो आपका इम्यून सिस्टम बना रहा है, जो आप ही की बॉडी के टिश्यूज को अटैक कर सकता है। समझ रहे हैं? एंटी न्यूक्लियर एंटीबॉडीज, क्योंकि आपके सेल्स में हर सेल में न्यूक्लियस है। सो एंटी न्यूक्लियर एंटीबॉडीज ये देखा जाता है कि आपके सेल यानी सेल के अंदर जो न्यूक्लियस है उसके खिलाफ एंटीबॉडी है क्या आपके शरीर में। इससे अगर आपके शरीर में प्रेजेंट है और एक ज़्यादा लेवल पे है तो इसका मतलब यह है कि आपका ये टेस्ट पॉजिटिव है। उसका मतलब यह है कि आपके अंदर ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज की टेंडेंसी है, तो आपके अंदर कोई ना कोई ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज पैदा हो सकती है। एंड ANA पॉजिटिव आया तो ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज के चांसेस हैं। ये भी ब्लड से टेस्ट किया जाता है, याद रखिए, और ब्लड से आपका जांच होगा। अब यहाँ पर क्यों किया जाएगा ये टेस्ट? आपको किसी भी प्रकार की जैसे आर्थराइटिस, कोई रैश है, कोई छाती में दर्द है, कोई अनएक्सप्लेन्ड या फिर सिस्टमिक ल्यूपस एरिथ्रोमेटोसिस जैसा सिम्टम है, तो फिर ये SLE का टेस्ट किया जाएगा। किसी भी प्रकार का, मान लीजिए किसी को कहीं भी रैश है, बुखार आ रहा है, अनएक्सप्लेन्ड बुखार है, पता नहीं चल रहा क्या कारण है। मान लो किसी को कोई खुजली हो रही, कोई रैश हो रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं दर्द हो रहा है, पता नहीं चल रहा है इसका कारण, तो अगर ऑटोइम्यून डिजीज सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो फिर ये करा जाएगा। नॉर्मल कंडीशन में आपके अंदर ये ANA बहुत ही लो मात्रा में होना चाहिए, और लो मात्रा में होना, लो ANA इज नॉट इज नॉर्मल होना चाहिए। ठीक है, कि टाइटर लो होता है, मतलब इसका एक टाइटर होता है रिपोर्टेड 1:40 और 1:60। पॉजिटिव टाइटर का मतलब होता है जो ज़्यादा होता है, और ज़्यादा टाइटर का मतलब ये है कि आपके बॉडी के अंदर उतने ज़्यादा एंटीबॉडीज बन रहे हैं। अब अगर ये ANA पॉजिटिव है तो कई सारी प्रकार की ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज हो सकती है। SLE ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ये मिल ही गया तो पक्की बात है कि ऐसे ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज है। याद रखिए, एबनॉर्मल रिजल्ट जो आएगा, एबनॉर्मल रिजल्ट्स कई बीमारियों में आ सकता है। ऑटोइम्यून डिजीज में, अब मैं बीमारियों के नाम गिना देता हूँ। इवन थायराइड की बीमारी में ऑटोइम्यून आ सकता है। ऑटोइम्यून थायराइडाइटिस होता है, ऑटोइम्यून हेपेटाइटिस होता है, लिम्फोमास होते हैं, रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस होता है, मायोसाइटिस होता है, ड्रग इंड्यूस्ड ल्यूपस एरिथ्रोमेटोसिस होता है, मिक्स्ड कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिसऑर्डर डिजीज होता है, जॉर्जियन सिंड्रोम होता है। ये सारे ऑटोइम्यून डिजीजेस हैं। राइट। इसके अलावा इन्फेक्शंस में भी बढ़ सकता है, जैसे कि हेपेटाइटिस सी, HIV, EB, एप्स्टीन बार वायरस और पार्वो वायरस। मतलब इतनी सारी चीज़ों में आपके अंदर ये आ सकता है। तो अगर ये पॉजिटिव है तो आपके डॉक्टर को ये अंदाज़ा लगाना है कि इसमें से कुछ और के सिम्टम है या नहीं। याद रखिए ये जो टेस्ट है, ये टेस्ट इन सारी बीमारियों के लिए एक काइंड ऑफ हेल्प करता है डायग्नोसिस में, कंफर्मेशन टेस्ट नहीं है। तो अगर आपको बुखार है, फटीग, जॉइंट पेन, मसल पेन, रैश, कोई भी बटरफ्लाई टाइप रैश रहता है तो फिर आपका ये होगा। अगर क्या ये टेस्ट कराने में कोई रिस्क है? ब्लड टेस्ट है, कोई खास रिस्क नहीं है। जैसा एक नॉर्मल ब्लड टेस्ट का रिस्क होता है वैसा रिस्क है और कुछ नहीं है। कुछ थोड़ी बहुत ब्लीडिंग हो सकती है, थोड़ा बहुत पेन हो सकता है, जहां पे सुई लगी वहां पे। अगर ये पॉजिटिव आता है तो यू माइट हैव, ये तीन ही चीज़ें होती हैं, राइट? या तो SLE होगा यानी ल्यूपस का इन्फेक्शन, या फिर ऑटोइम्यून डिजीज कोई और, या फिर वायरल इन्फेक्शन, इनमें से कोई ना कोई जो हमने बताया। अब पॉजिटिव का मतलब जरूरी नहीं है कि बीमारी, कुछ हेल्दी लोगों में भी ANA पॉजिटिव रह सकता है, कुछ दवाओं से पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट जैसा रिजल्ट आ सकता है। तो इसीलिए ये आपके डॉक्टर का काम है कि इसको स्क्रूटिनी करना कि आपका जो रिजल्ट है वैलिड है, कितना पॉजिटिव है, कितना पॉजिटिव नहीं है। सो ये बेसिक है ऑटो इम्यून टेस्ट का, एंटी न्यूक्लियर एंटीबॉडी टेस्ट का। तो याद रखिए ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज अपने आप में बहुत सारे अलग अलग प्रकार की बीमारियां हैं जो आपकी खुद की इम्यून सिस्टम आपकी बॉडी को हार्म कर रही है। मोर देन 80 से ज़्यादा टाइप की ऑटो इम्यून डिजीजेज हैं और ये डायग्नोसिस बहुत मुश्किल होता है डॉक्टरों के लिए, कई बार फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग हो जाता है, स्ट्रेसफुल हो जाता है, पेशेंट के लिए स्ट्रेसफुल हो जाता है कितनी सारी बीमारियों को रूल आउट कर करके, क्योंकि उनको अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है, हर बार मसल पेन हो रहा है, बॉडी में दर्द हो रहा है, थकावट हो रही है, लेकिन कारण नहीं पता चल रहा। फीवर जैसा लो ग्रेड फीवर है, कारण नहीं पता चल रहा। सो याद रखिए ये ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज हो सकती है। ऑटो इम्यून डिजीज के लिए अपने टेस्ट करवाइए, ANA, CRP, ESR, एट्सेट्रा एट्सेट्रा एट्सेट्रा, बहुत सारे टेस्ट हैं। सो इसके लिए अपने डॉक्टर से बात करिए, अगर कोई डाउट हो तो आपसे पूछिए, बस और कुछ नहीं है इसमें। थैंक यू सो मच।
Oh, you got it right. Yeah, what is the purpose of this is? What is the purpose of this is to know is there any autoimmune disorder? And very important, one of our godly man, हमारे यहाँ गुरु जी है इधर एक बेंगलोर में, and a very nice person. So as per him, why autoimmune disorder comes, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. I liked it very much. For that reason, I want to share with you. Is Nagaraj Baba, we call Baba uncle, and he tells one beautiful thing. When you hate someone,
Mhm.
our body doesn't know, because our cell is exactly made like that only of the other person. Sri Ram ji ka cell and mera cell are both the same. Eyes are same. Retinas are same. Made up of the same material. Same components. थोड़ा आगे पीछे रहता है, but it is almost same. So when I hate somebody, our body doesn't know that it is hating somebody. It start hating itself.
Okay.
When it start hating itself, that time we get the autoimmune disorder. As per the Baba uncle, I feel it is very, 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 very true. So love everyone. क्षमा कर दो सबको, and be happy. That's it. Don't have any rivalry against anybody, गुस्सा against anybody. Everybody is good basically. कुछ situations make them wrong, है ना? तो इसीलिए उनको क्षमा कर दो, तो at least you will not get any autoimmune disorder. And some people, you are all hypnotherapist past life regression करते हैं, such people give them, release their gussa, release their rivalry, release their enmity, somewhere, everywhere, love and peace and love and peace. इसलिए मैं बोला, the best remedy in our vibronics is Soham mission number 5, that is love and peace. So if love and peace is there anywhere, everywhere, there will not be any fighting, there will not be any, you can say, war. So you try to send it to the whole world. Okay? So thank you so much for being with me today. It's a very important topic.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Immunity, आप कुछ पढ़ेंगे नहीं पढ़ेंगे, no problem. Don't read any other parts पढ़ने का जरूरत नहीं. Only read when you have someone with you, you have a patient, you have a person who has come for help. That time only you read. But immune system you should read without getting any problem. I mean, वो कोई आएगा तभी पढ़ना ऐसा नहीं है. Read beautifully. So nicely it is explained. If you want, I can share these. These videos are free videos. They are educational purpose only. They don't have any copyrights. I have selected those videos only. And Khan Academy is a very fantastic thing. They are doing very great job. You can learn many things. Nobody can stop you learning. है ना? कोई भी आपका knowledge लेने का कोई भी stop नहीं कर सकता. So read, get the thing, and that's it. Immunity, everything works on in our homeopathy system works, and we have seen the vaccination. Similarly, our homeopathy works and our vibronics works. Vibronics is the next level of homeopathy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it works like that. So I think so. You have understood much and much more about the immunity. Please keep revising the immune chapter again and again.
Yes, sir.
You can only see when there is when there is some problem, then that time only you can read, open and see. Okay, I will tell you, because I have gone through all those stages. When you get a person, and that's why today why we have this immune chapter was there. Autoimmune disorder is the biggest challenge now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Most of the problems are arising with that, and that too with our Nagaraj Baba's I mean, his idea is when you hate someone, when you race with someone, when you compete with someone, when that time your body start competing with yourself.
Yes, yes.
That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving
Yes, sir.
such a
Sir,
wonderful time.
these are life
Again,
lessons, sir.
meet tomorrow by
Sir.
10.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will
Sir, by 10 or 10:30.
Yes, 10:30 we will see whatever the possible time.
Okay, sir. Okay. sir.
Okay. So yes, any doubt, don't ask. Don't ask, because we are all in learning process. Go through again and again and
Okay.
again, step by step. We will discuss. This is a fantastic thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
we will share the videos,
Yes, sir.
these videos, and even Khan Academy. If you go, you will get many things. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Sir, bande sir, bande.